Hey everyone, Zion over here from Nintendo Life. So last year, we got a lot of different video game TV shows, movies, video game media outside of video games in general. And whether you liked them or not, I think it's fair to say that video game movies have come a long way in comparison to stuff like the Blood Rain movie, Dead or Alive, House of the Dead, Far Cry, even the original Super Mario movie, which has its merits, yes. But one movie that I didn't see a lot of people talking about hit me way harder than any of those other films or TV shows, except for that one episode in The Last of Us, which you probably know what I'm talking about. And the movie that I'm talking about is called EarthBound U.S.A. Even if you haven't played EarthBound, you probably understand it to some extent. You understand the story. You understand the fact that everybody has been crying for Mother 3 for years. But unless if you were there for the early days, it's hard to understand the fight, the journey, and the lengths that the people at StarMed.net, the people that we really genuinely owe our thanks to, for having EarthBound be this kind of popular thing that it is now. It's still niche, but if you play Nintendo games, you've at least heard of it. And back in the 90s and early 2000s, that wasn't really the case. I fight the idea to call EarthBound USA a documentary, as it's so much more than that. The movie chronicles the story of StarMed.net, to my knowledge is the first EarthBound fan site. Now, EarthBound released in 1994 in Japan, where it was originally known as Mother 2, and then it came to America in 1995 and then never released in Europe. So this film chronicles the entire story of the game. It goes from 1994, 1995, up until the modern day, basically. The movie gives you a perspective that you really won't find anywhere else. Even as somebody who was fortunate enough to be able to put together a Mother documentary here on YouTube myself, we had a lot of incredible guests in that documentary, but this movie does it on an entirely different level. It's incredible how many important voices in the industry they managed to pull in for this. You have interviews with people like Marcus Lindblom, who was the original translator on EarthBound here in North America. Shigesato Itoi, the lead writer and creator of EarthBound. You got insight from Gail Tilden, who was the head of publication at Nintendo, who worked closely with Nintendo Power. There's even a moment that hits really close to home for me where they talk to Andy Myers, who used to write for Nintendo Power. And he talks about the fact that he and another writer at Nintendo Power were such huge fans of EarthBound that they would often try to sneak little references and Easter eggs to the series in the magazine. And that hit me really close to home as this job that I have now. You know, we get to talk to our audience and create this coverage of Nintendo in a similar fashion, just on the internet instead. And I often, if any of you know me, you know I'm always trying to sneak EarthBound references into everything we do. And Neon Genesis Evangelion, but that series doesn't need any help. EarthBound does. They even talked to Per Schneider from IGN, who actually played EarthBound 64 in Japan at Space World back in the day. Now, the movie was directed by Jazzy Benson, but for the most part, the movie follows the story of Reed Young and Clyde Mandolin, or Tomato, and they're two of the most integral pieces to this entire EarthBound story. If you're an EarthBound fan, like I am, you owe so much of them your thanks just for shining a spotlight on this series and for never giving up on it. Reed Young is one of the co-founders of StarMed.net, who now co-owns Fangamer, and they're the company that produced this documentary. And Clyde Mandolin actually translated Mother 3 into English. He's one of the biggest reasons why we even have this fan translation, why I was able to play this game, why I now have it on my shelf so proudly. And this movie covers the fun and the dark times of this journey, what it was like trying to translate this game that he so badly wanted everyone to play. But we get to see the struggles that you might not necessarily think of as a translator. They use so much home footage in this movie that, yeah, I wasn't there for those early moments of the EarthBound community. Like, I never went to any of the festivals or the events that they hosted. And I wish I could have, but I didn't play EarthBound officially until it came to Wii U, because it's always been really hard to find and very expensive. But even though I missed out on those times, Jazzy did such a great job of capturing that in this film that it made it feel like I was there. And I've watched this movie twice now. My second time was to gather up some more notes and really form my thoughts, as the first time I didn't want to have a notebook with me at all or anything. I just wanted to soak it in, and it was such a great experience. Sitting down on the couch, popping the Blu-ray in, which, yeah, by the way, there is a physical copy of this movie, so I'll talk about that more later. But man, like I would have killed to go see this in a theater with some popcorn and some pals. It was a great time. Another thing that they did really, really well is they recreated sets that matched the era. There's a big portion in the early part of the film where they're often talking about the sales of EarthBound and how the hopes and dreams and how they thought it would perform on the market. They just went the extra mile to make those sets look so believable. And yeah, there are quite a few different video game documentaries out on YouTube, and there's even like a few on Netflix now, but I think it's rare to see one go this far. Another one of my favorite parts of the film is the fact that the story is chronicled in such a way, and it's handled so carefully, that if you haven't played EarthBound, minus one particular part, if you haven't played EarthBound or Mother 3 or EarthBound Beginnings, they really don't dive into spoilers for the series. But I will say, if you've never played Mother 3 and you don't know any of the spoilers and you want to go in spoiler-free, I would highly suggest skipping this timestamp. I'll put this on screen for you and I'll put it in the description as well. So go skip this time in the film if you want to watch the whole thing, but you want to miss just a little bit of spoilers. Otherwise, you get the Xeon stamp of approval. There's even a moment where they go into Nintendo's North American headquarters, and I believe that's a set that they built as well, but it felt so real and authentic that it wasn't until like the second watch through that I like maybe started to piece things together that this was a set, but I don't know, I still could be wrong. It looked that legit. Oh my gosh, this is like a spoiler for the movie now. So if you don't want any spoilers for the movie, just skip off now or skip like a minute ahead. There's a moment where they show Miyamoto coming to Nintendo's headquarters. It looks like they're using an actor to play Miyamoto. Obviously, Miyamoto isn't in this film, and it's not like old footage that they have of this. They were so meticulous in these shots that they actually got somebody to walk with him that looked a lot like Bill Trinan, which, if you don't know, Bill Trinan was one of Shigeru Miyamoto's original translators here in North America. And I could be crazy, maybe that was just a coincidence that that person happened to look like Bill Trinan. But to me, that felt like, that was like an Easter egg in itself. And that's the thing, is if you're an EarthBound fan, if you're a Nintendo fan, and you were disappointed in the Mario movie, you know, I know a lot of people love or hated the Mario movie for what it was, but this movie is such a tribute to EarthBound and to just gamers and fans of Nintendo in general. There's so much to dive into here. Seriously, EarthBound U.S.A. is my favorite movie of last year because this is the kind of thing that more people need to talk about. Give this your chance. Give this your time of day. You can rent it for $7. You can also get that rental through Fangamer's website, but you can also buy a physical copy like I have right here. This is a Blu-ray. It came with this cool like paper like slipcase, a digipack maybe I think is what they call this. The movie is actually in the in my PlayStation 3 right now, but it also came with like a starmen.net sticker, and it was $19 to get this physical plus shipping and handling, which feels so 90s to say shipping and handling. Normally it's just free shipping across the board nowadays. So I actually reached out to Fangamer to ask a couple questions, and they told me that the movie's actually coming to iTunes, the Google Play Store, and Amazon for digital rental or purchase as well. But like I said, nothing beats having a physical copy, because then that belongs to you. Nobody's gonna come into your house and take it, unless if you leave your doors open or something, or tell someone they can, but don't do that unless you're gonna borrow it, like I am. And the physical version of the movie actually has, I think it's about 30 minutes of like deleted scenes and unused interviews. There's a really cool one where Reed is actually like in his college trying to make like copies of this Mother 3 petition. And they actually recreated the college like printer room, or maybe they went there and filmed in that actual printer room. I'm not sure, but that was a really cool scene that didn't make it into the full film. And they also interviewed Tim Schafer and a few other different people. But those interviews are kept preserved on the Blu-ray, and they were a lot of fun to watch too. And the movie runs about, what is it? It's about an hour and a half? Yeah, 104 minutes, so just a little under. But like I said before, I really liked the Last of Us TV show. It's crazy that we got another Castlevania anime, but I seriously don't think you'll find another film out there as special as this. Oh, and I almost forgot, Fangamer actually provided us with an exclusive clip that I think really encapsulates the production quality, the energy, and the emotions that this movie is trying to deliver. So thank you all so much for watching. I'm Zian from Nintendo Life. Stay safe out there, and I hope you enjoy this clip of EarthBound USA. See you next time.
I remember the music freaking me out because it was so cool and so frightening at the same time.